Ever wondered why you do the things you do? Believe it or not, a whopping 95% of your decisions are made by your subconscious mind. Yes, 95%. That means most of what drives you lies hidden beneath your conscious awareness. Did you know that social media triggers the same dopamine response in your brain as eating chocolate? That's why it's so addictive. And here's another jaw-dropper. You remember uncompleted tasks better than completed ones. This is called the Zeigarnik effect, and it's why those unfinished chores nag at you. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating world of psychology to uncover 15 powerful insights that explain your behavior. We'll explore everything from why you can't put down your phone to how your expectations shape reality. Get ready to discover the hidden forces that drive your actions and learn strategies to harness these insights for a better life. Stay tuned as we reveal the secrets behind why we do what we do. You won't want to miss this. 1. The power of the unconscious mind. Have you ever wondered why you sometimes act on impulse? It's often your unconscious mind at work. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, believed that much of our behavior is driven by unconscious motives. Did you know that around 95% of our brain activity is beyond our conscious awareness? This means most decisions we make, actions we take, emotions we feel, and behaviors we exhibit are influenced by the unconscious. In his book, Blink, Malcolm Gladwell discusses how our unconscious mind makes split-second decisions that are often surprisingly accurate. But it's not just about snap judgments. Our unconscious mind also processes and filters information, helping us navigate the world more efficiently. This process is known as cognitive heuristics. A strategy to harness this power is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps bring some unconscious processes into awareness. Another approach is cognitive behavioral techniques, which aim to change our unconscious patterns by altering our thoughts and behaviors. 2. The dopamine loop. Addiction to instant gratification. Why do we keep checking our phones for notifications? It's all about dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. Dopamine plays a key role in reward-motivated behavior. When we receive a message, our brain releases dopamine, making us feel good and prompting us to seek that feeling again. This creates a loop of instant gratification. Interestingly, a study by Harvard University found that self-disclosure on social media triggers the same dopamine response as food and sex. This explains why social media can be so addictive. One effective strategy to break this loop is to implement dopamine fasting. This means taking breaks from activities that trigger dopamine spikes, like social media or junk food. By doing so, you can reset your brain's reward system. Another tactic is to set clear boundaries and schedules for activities that provide instant gratification, allowing for more control over your impulses. 3. Cognitive dissonance, the inner conflict. Ever felt uncomfortable after making a decision that contradicts your beliefs? This discomfort is known as cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger introduced this concept, suggesting that we have an inner drive to hold all our attitudes and beliefs in harmony. For instance, if you believe smoking is bad for your health but you smoke, you might feel discomfort. To reduce this dissonance, you might change your belief, smoking isn't that bad, or your behavior, quit smoking. According to a study by the University of California, cognitive dissonance can be a powerful motivator for change. A practical strategy to manage cognitive dissonance is to be aware of it and confront it head-on. Reflect on your beliefs and behaviors and make conscious efforts to align them. Journaling can be a helpful tool for this process. Another strategy is to seek information that supports your desired belief or behavior change, reinforcing the new mindset. 4. The influence of social proof. Why do we often follow the crowd? The answer lies in social proof. Social proof is a psychological phenomenon where people assume the actions of others reflect correct behavior. This concept was popularized by psychologist Robert Cialdini in his book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. One famous example is the Asch conformity experiments, where individuals conform to a group's incorrect judgment about the length of lines. In marketing, social proof is used to build trust. Reviews, testimonials, and influencer endorsements are all forms of social proof that influence our decisions. To use social proof to your advantage, surround yourself with people who exhibit the behaviors you want to adopt. If you're trying to eat healthier, spend time with friends who prioritize nutrition. Another strategy is to seek out positive social proof in your environment, such as success stories or community groups that align with your goals. 5. Anchoring effect. First impressions matter. First impressions are powerful. The anchoring effect is a cognitive bias where we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, the anchor, when making decisions. This concept was introduced by psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman. For instance, if you first see a dress priced at $1,000 and then see another at $100, the second dress seems like a bargain, even if it's not. Studies show that anchors can significantly influence our judgments and choices, even in unrelated areas. To counteract the anchoring effect, try to be aware of the initial information you receive and question its validity. Another strategy is to gather multiple perspectives before making a decision. For example, if you're negotiating a salary, research average salaries in your field to establish a more accurate anchor. 6. The Zeigarnik effect, unfinished business. Ever felt a nagging sense of urgency over an unfinished task? That's the Zeigarnik effect at work. Named after psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik, this effect explains why we remember uncompleted tasks better than completed ones. In a famous study, Zeigarnik observed that waiters could recall orders only until they were served. Once the order was complete, the details vanished from their memory. This phenomenon can be a powerful motivator. For example, if you start a project and leave it unfinished, your mind will keep nudging you to complete it. A practical strategy to harness this effect is to break larger tasks into smaller, manageable parts. Start each part and leave it slightly unfinished. This creates a mental pull to get back to it. Another tactic is to use to-do lists with incomplete tasks to keep you motivated throughout the day. 7. The halo effect, judging a book by its cover. Ever noticed how a good first impression can color your perception of someone? This is the halo effect. Edward Thorndike coined this term to describe how our overall impression of a person influences our judgments about their specific traits. For instance, if you perceive someone as attractive, you're more likely to rate them as kind and intelligent. A study by the University of British Columbia found that attractive individuals are often assumed to have positive qualities, even without evidence. To mitigate the halo effect, try to separate your overall impression from individual judgments. Focus on specific traits and evidence rather than letting one positive attribute overshadow others. Another strategy is to seek feedback from others to gain a more balanced perspective. 8. The role of mirror neurons. Have you ever caught yourself mimicking someone else's gestures or expressions? This is due to mirror neurons, discovered by neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti. These neurons fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. Mirror neurons are crucial for empathy and learning through imitation. They help us understand and share the emotions of others. This is why watching someone smile can make you feel happy. According to a study in the journal Science, mirror neurons play a key role in social interactions and communication. To leverage the power of mirror neurons, practice empathy by actively listening and observing others. Engage in activities that involve imitation, such as dance or sports, to strengthen your social bonds. Another strategy is to use positive body language to influence the emotions of those around you. 9. The scarcity principle, wanting what we can't have. Why do we often desire things that are hard to get? The scarcity principle explains this behavior. When something is scarce, it becomes more valuable in our eyes. Psychologist Robert Cialdini discusses this in his book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. For example, limited time offers and exclusive products create a sense of urgency and desire. A study by the University of Illinois found that perceived scarcity can significantly increase our willingness to buy a product. To use the scarcity principle to your advantage, create scarcity in your personal goals. Set deadlines for yourself and limit your access to distractions. Another strategy is to prioritize tasks and activities that are truly valuable to you, treating them as scarce resources. 10. The self-serving bias. Have you ever blamed external factors for your failures but credited yourself for your successes? This is the self-serving bias. It's a common cognitive bias where people attribute their successes to internal factors and their failures to external ones. A study by the University of California showed that this bias helps protect our self-esteem. However, it can also hinder personal growth by preventing us from acknowledging our mistakes. To counteract the self-serving bias, practice self-reflection and take responsibility for your actions. Seek constructive feedback from others and use it to improve. Another strategy is to adopt a growth mindset, focusing on learning from both successes and failures. 11. The power of narrative, storytelling and decision-making. Ever noticed how a good story can change your mind? That's the power of narrative. Stories are more memorable than facts alone because they engage our emotions. In Made to Stick, Chip and Dan Heath explain that stories create a mental simulation. helping us understand and remember information better. A study by Stanford University found that stories are up to 22 times more memorable than facts. This is why marketers use storytelling to sell products and politicians use it to sway voters. We connect with stories on a personal level, making them a powerful tool for persuasion. To harness the power of narrative, frame your goals and ideas as stories. Instead of listing reasons to start a new habit, tell a story about how it changed someone's life. Another strategy is to use storytelling in your daily communication. Share personal anecdotes to make your points more relatable and memorable. 12. The foot in the door technique. Small steps to big changes. Have you ever agreed to a small request and then found yourself agreeing to a larger one? This is the foot in the door technique. Psychologists Jonathan Friedman and Scott Fraser demonstrated this in their classic study. They found that people who agreed to a small sign in their yard were more likely to agree to a larger sign later. This technique works because agreeing to the initial request creates a sense of commitment. Once committed, we are more likely to continue behaving consistently. A study by the University of California supported this, showing that small initial commitments lead to greater compliance with larger requests. To use this strategy, start with small, manageable steps toward your goals. If you're trying to build a new habit, begin with something easy. For example, if you want to exercise regularly, start with just 5 minutes a day. Gradually increase the time as the habit becomes ingrained. 13. The spotlight effect. Overestimating others' attention. Ever felt like everyone is watching you? That's the spotlight effect. Psychologists Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky found that we overestimate how much others notice our actions and appearance. In reality, people are often too focused on themselves to pay much attention to us. A study at Cornell University demonstrated this by having participants wear an embarrassing t-shirt. They predicted that half of their peers would notice, but in reality, only 25% did. This effect can make us overly self-conscious and anxious. To counteract the spotlight effect, remind yourself that people are not as focused on you as you think. A practical strategy is to shift your attention outward. Focus on others and the environment instead of worrying about how you're perceived. Another tactic is to practice self-compassion and accept that making mistakes is part of being human. 14. The priming effect. Subtle influences on behavior. Have you ever been influenced by something without realizing it? That's the priming effect. Priming occurs when exposure to a stimulus influences our response to a subsequent stimulus. Psychologist John Barg's research revealed that even subtle cues can affect our behavior and thoughts. In one study, participants who were exposed to words related to old age walked more slowly afterward. Another study found that priming people with money-related words made them less likely to help others. These subtle influences can have a significant impact on our actions. To use priming to your advantage, create an environment that supports your goals. Surround yourself with positive cues that reinforce desired behaviors. For example, place motivational quotes where you'll see them often. Another strategy is to use visualization techniques. Visualize successful outcomes to prime your mind for achieving them. 15. The Pygmalion effect. Expectations shape reality. Ever noticed how high expectations can lead to better performance? This is the Pygmalion effect. Named after a Greek myth, this effect was demonstrated by psychologists Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson. They found that students performed better when their teachers expected more from them. A study in the Journal of Educational Psychology confirmed that teacher expectations can significantly influence student achievement. This effect extends beyond education. In the workplace, managers who expect high performance from their employees often see better results. To leverage the Pygmalion effect, set high but realistic expectations for yourself and others. Believe in your potential and the potential of those around you. Another strategy is to provide positive feedback and encouragement. This boosts confidence and motivation, helping to turn expectations into reality.